Hello everyone, I hope everyone is having a fantastic day. In today's lesson, I'm going to be answering questions from my students. For this lesson, we're discussing the Pythagorean relationship. The instructions ask, do the following lengths form a right triangle? So using the Pythagorean theory, you're going to actually answer whether or not, using yes or no, these lengths form a right triangle. So now let's look at one that will be yes and the other one that will be no. Let's look at number one. So for number one, we have our hypotenuse is going to be 10. The hypotenuse is always the longest length of the triangle. It is opposite the square box inside of the triangle. So we have a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Now, in order for any of these to be a right triangle, it has to be true that a squared plus b squared equals c squared, okay? So inserting these values into the equation, we know that our hypotenuse, which is going to be opposite of the square here, is 10, okay? So we can put 10 here. Now 10 squared is going to give us 100. This side of the equation must also equal to 100. So when you put in 6 squared plus, and then we have 8 squared, we have 6 times 6 is 36, plus 8 times 8 is 64. 36 plus 64, 6 and 4 is 0, plus 1. 3 and 6 is 9, plus 1 is 10. So therefore, it is true that the triangle for number one, it does form a right triangle. So number one is a right triangle because a squared plus b squared equals c squared. 100 equals 100. That is true. So this is a true statement. Therefore, number one is a right triangle. Now let's look at number three. Okay, so now let's look at number three. For number three, our hypotenuse is going to be 16 because it's opposite the square here. It is also the longest length. So now using the Pythagorean theory, a squared plus b squared equals c squared, we can determine whether or not the lengths form a right triangle. Also keep in mind that the Pythagorean theory is only used for right triangles. That's very important to remember. So now let's insert our values into the equation. So we know that c is going to be 16 squared. So we have 16 times 16 equals 256. So now a squared plus b squared must also equal to 256. Let's insert our values into the rest of our equation. Now we have 9 squared. Now I can use 9 or 12 as my a value. It doesn't matter. So I'm going to use 9 and then we'll have 12 squared as my b value. 9 times 9 is 81. And then we have 12 times 12 is 144. We're going to add 144 plus 81, and that gives me 225. 225 is not equal to 256. This statement is false. Therefore, number 3 does not form a right triangle. So the answer here will be no. And this is how you determine whether or not the lengths form a right triangle. You must use the Pythagorean theorem in order to determine that. I hope that this lesson has helped. I am sure that it will help my students as they are required to complete assignments like this in their coursework. Everyone have a blessed day. Bye-bye.